Hello, we're here with Neal Smith, and he is with us today on behalf of the United Way of Davie County. Neal, how are you doing?
I'm doing just fine, Wendy.
Good. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to talk with us a little bit. We always start these interviews out with giving folks the chance to kind of introduce themselves, tell a little bit about you personally, as far as I know you've been a part of the Davie County community for a long time, but then I also wanted to let you share sort of how you are associated with United Way and just talk a little bit about that. So I'm going to turn the floor over to you.
Okay, thank you. Well, I grew up in Coolamy.
Okay.
Went to Davie High, graduated in 1971. After graduation, took a job that moved me out of the state and allowed me to travel Europe, America, Asia, and sort of enjoyed that for a number of years. Once we had children, we needed to get back to North Carolina and to Davie County. And so in 1993, early 93, we moved back.
Okay.
It was late in 93 that Alan Martin, then the executive director of United Way, invited me to be on the board of directors. And that was late 93, and I've been on the board off and on for 20 plus years now.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about, obviously, you started then, but what are some of the roles that you've served with United Way? I know there's probably been a wide variety. Obviously, you're a volunteer, but I know you've served in some of those volunteer leadership capacities as well.
Okay. They're all volunteer positions. I've been president 3 times, finance director 4 times, campaign chair once, and for the last 8 years, I've been chair of the Community Investment Committee, which is once we have the campaign and raise funds, we then need to decide how we're going to distribute those funds to nonprofits.
Okay.
And so I've been working on that process for the last 8 years.
Okay. So I think just from having all that, those different levels of involvement, I think you can honestly speak to how the United Way operates, who they serve. And I think as far as the community investment, I know I have served on that before as well. And that's such a good experience for folks to participate in, because you actually, as just members of the community, you come into a room and you hear from agencies that United Way supports. You see the success of the or the unfortunate sometimes if there's been a shortfall, you have the very difficult job of being to determine how those funds are going to be allocated. But I think that is something that if folks have not been able to be a part of, it's hard for them to understand, because you're really, as a community member, determining how funds are going to be sent out to partners and agencies. So that, like I said, I can relate to that as far as serving in that role as well. Okay, going on to the next question that I sent you. We obviously know that here in the community and nationwide for that matter, the COVID-19 pandemic has affected businesses, especially small businesses. However, I think one thing that probably has gone unnoticed is the impact that this is having on nonprofits. And Davie County has a number of nonprofits in our community. But I would like for you to speak to how that is specifically impacting the United Way of Davie County.
Well, it hit us at a very bad time because we were just starting to go into the community investment process, which is a process where we receive grant applications from those who like funding. Mm-hmm. We do a site visit to those agencies, and then we have the agencies come before us and make presentations, discussing their programs and justifying their request. All that got shut down or suspended until further notice, because we just can't get together like we're accustomed to.
Right.
We are technology savvy enough to, we're going to set up some Zoom meetings later in May, but probably won't do the site visits at all. We don't want to get into other people's spaces at this point until that's all cleared up. So that's how the impact in regard to our process. The other thing that happens is a lot of organizations that provide funding for us, don't provide that information, those reports, until February, March, and April. So the best we can determine, we're $65,000 on the books that we haven't heard anything from yet.
Okay.
With businesses, there's nobody there to answer the phone to give us updates. So when this all comes back together, we're not sure exactly when, how, or how much all that's going to turn out to be.
Okay.
And then the last item turned out to be positive. Immediately when we started doing the shutdown, we set up a GoFundMe page for COVID-19 relief fund.
Mm-hmm.
And we've actually been able to make some distributions off of that at this time, which help fund rent payments, car payments, and provide food for families and for the elderly.
Okay. As far as the shortfall that you guys are looking at right now, that, you know, unfortunately has just, I mean, it's happening because of so many people being required to stay at home. I'm sure we have a number of businesses in the community who allow their employees to give through payroll deduction. We have folks who even live in other counties who can designate, if their business lets them send funds to a United Way, they can designate that to come to Davie County. And I'm sure there's probably been some impact as far as with, I would imagine furloughs and unemployment. So there have been quite a few things because I think the United Way, they actually count on a lot of small donations that come in through individuals that come in through payroll deduction. So I think that's something to highlight, because people don't really realize that some of these larger, especially manufacturing companies, they offer that opportunity for their employees to give in that way, and some of them are experiencing some cutbacks as well. So it's definitely attributing to the shortfall. In terms of the shortfall, if that is not reversed, what kind of impact or what is that going to mean to United Way?
In a typical year, the programs our agencies run touch 1 in 4 individuals in Davie County. That's 1 in 4 individuals in Davie County. That's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
If the 65,000 doesn't come in, or anything close to that doesn't come in, plus some other shortfalls that we experienced this year, that can have a very negative impact on all the 12 agencies we currently have in the programs that they run. And there are several that we're the sole funder of those programs.
Okay.
So if we're unable to fund them, their future is uncertain.
Okay. And I think some folks, I know there's a lot of folks in the community who like to give directly to nonprofits, but I think one thing that's important to point out is some of these nonprofits who, yes, they do have other sources of funds. However, they do include in their annual budgets funds that they expect to receive from the United Way. So I think folks need to remember that when United Way has a shortfall like this, those agencies have United Way earmarked as a source of funding. So it is definitely a trickle down for them. I know I didn't mention this to you.
Let me add one thing.
Yeah.
Most of these programs are not national programs that you've heard of.
Okay.
Several are local programs, and you would only know it if you were involved with it. Okay. So if you just fund those that you're aware of, then that leaves out the ones that are have an audience, a need audience, but they're not being directly funded. That's why we're funding them ourselves.
Right. Are you able to mention some of those programs that you all fund that maybe folks are not quite as recognized that people should know about?
2 of them I'll mention is, one is we call Buckle Up, and it provides free car seats to those who need it, probably a lot of newborns, and they show parents how to install a car seat, which is not as straightforward as it used to be if you've never done that.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one is the 2nd grade water safety program that we all the 2nd graders in our school system come to the YMCA and get a week's worth of swim lessons, classroom, and actual water time. And so that's examples of two of those.
Okay. I'm glad you pointed that out, because I think that's a great point, that there are a lot of these programs that rely solely on their United Way funds, and folks just may not realize or may not know about them. So thank you for pointing that out. Obviously, I think we want to use this opportunity as a way to ask the community if they feel led to do what they can to help the United Way in terms of addressing this shortfall. What are some things that people can do in terms of being able to help?
Well, first of all, let me just say there are a lot of good nonprofits in Davie County, and if you're able to fund one, please fund something to help out people in this time of need.
Absolutely.
If you'd like to fund United Way, there's several ways. Easiest way, I think, is to text to Davie, D-A-V-I-E, 41444.
Okay.
And that window come up, and it's just like all the other windows. You put in an amount, a single donation or recurring, stuff you normally would see when you're doing this type of thing. The next is go to our website, which is www.davieunitedway.org, and the same thing will pop up, single recurring amount and so on. And then if you're not into technology like that, then you can just call the office, 336-751-0313.
Okay.
Message, there's no one in the office at this time, but they check voicemail daily.
Okay.
One last thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
There is an urgency on this. We'd like to get these donations in by May 8th in order to allow us to continue with our community investment process.
Okay. Yeah. I hope folks will pay attention to that deadline, because as you all are beginning to try and schedule some of these virtual or online meetings where you'll be meeting with folks who are applying for funds, the sooner you can get that money in, it allows you guys to know what you are allowed or not allowed, what you are able to give back to those organizations and programs and agencies. So, well, Neal, I really do appreciate you speaking with us. I know it's a difficult time for lots of folks, but I do hope that folks will consider how they might be able to step up and support the United Way, because they do, as you mentioned, they touch 1 in 4 individuals in the community, and many of us, in all likelihood, probably know somebody who has benefited from the United Way, even if we don't realize it. So is there anything else you'd like to add before we hop off?
Can I just briefly list the type of services our agencies provide without giving away a lot of names at this point?
Yeah.
We help the homeless. We do food security. We deal with cancer services. We have a special needs program, domestic violence prevention, child abuse prevention, the free car seats that I mentioned earlier, as well as the second grade water safety program, 4-H summer camps. We do a mentoring program, and Salvation Army. They do so much different things, it's sort of hard to pick out those services they provide to us.
Okay. Well, thank you for
the opportunity, Andy.
No, thank you. I appreciate that. I think you made a lot of good points that people don't realize. So I hope that people will watch this. I hope they'll share it with their friends and family, and hopefully we can rally together and help the United Way be in a position to help those who rely on their funding.
Thank you.
Thank you, Neal. I hope you have a good afternoon.
You too.
Bye-bye.